The quantum drive of the HSS Athena hummed at a barely perceptible frequency as Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation deck, watching the unfamiliar stars of the Sagittarius arm drift past. After 6 months of faster-than-light travel, they were about to make history, humanity's first official diplomatic contact beyond their own sphere of influence. Captain, we're picking up unusual readings from the designated meeting coordinates, Lieutenant Marcus Wong reported from his sensor station, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display floating before him. The Meridian Outpost's energy signature, it is erratic. Sarah's expression remained neutral, but her mind raced through possibilities. The Meridian Federation had agreed to this meeting after months of careful long-range communication. Their outpost was supposed to be ready to receive Earth's first diplomatic vessel. Something wasn't right. "Show me," she ordered, moving to the central command platform. The holographic display expanded, filling the space with a three-dimensional representation of the sector. The Meridian Outpost, a sprawling structure of crystalline spires and curved metal, pulsed with irregular energy patterns. "Analysis, ARIA?" Sarah asked the ship's eye. A smooth, genderless voice responded. "The energy fluctuations are consistent with defensive systems cycling at random intervals. Additional data suggests recent weapons discharge within the past 72 hours. This differs significantly from the baseline readings we received during preliminary communications." Sarah's fingers drummed against the command console. The Athena was a diplomatic vessel, but that didn't mean she was defenseless. The ship's quantum-enhanced hull could withstand tremendous punishment, and their point defense systems were state-of-the-art. But they weren't here to fight. "Full scan of the surrounding space," she ordered. "Check for any signs of recent ship activity." The bridge crew worked in focused silence as the Athena's sensors reached out into the void. They were the best Earth had to offer, not just in skills, but in their ability to represent humanity. Each had been chosen for their combination of expertise and diplomatic sensitivity. "Captain," called out Commander Rajpedal from the tactical station, "I'm detecting debris fields in a spiral pattern extending from the outpost. Composition analysis suggests at least 3 different ship types. None match Meridian designs in our database." Sarah's jaw tightened. "ARIA, compile a threat assessment based on all available data." "Analysis complete," the AI responded after a brief pause. With 89% probability, the Meridian Outpost was recently engaged in defensive combat against multiple hostile vessels. Energy readings suggest they are operating on emergency power. Life signs are present, but significantly reduced from expected numbers. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Their first diplomatic contact had just become something else entirely. "Options?" Sarah asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Her first officer, Commander David Chen, no relation, stepped forward. "Protocol would suggest we withdraw and request new instructions from Earth Command. This situation falls outside our diplomatic mandate." Sarah nodded slowly, considering. The safe choice would be to retreat. They weren't meant to handle combat situations or rescue operations, but she also knew that their response in this moment could define humanity's relationship with galactic civilization for generations to come. "What about the Meridian survivors?" Lieutenant Wong asked quietly. "Their power systems are failing. If they're running on emergency reserves." Sarah straightened her uniform and made her decision. "ARIA, begin emergency approach calculations. Commander Patel, bring our defensive systems to full readiness, but keep them in passive mode. Lieutenant Wong, prepare a detailed scan of their life support systems. Commander Chen, I want a first contact team prepped for potential emergency assistance." "Captain," Chen cautioned, "this could be seen as interference in local affairs. We don't know the full situation." "No," Sarah agreed, "we don't. But we know there are people in danger, and we have the capability to help. That's what humanity does." She touched a control, and her voice carried throughout the ship. "All hands, this is the captain. We are approaching a potentially dangerous situation. This is not what we trained for, but I know every one of you is capable of adapting to whatever we find. Stay focused, stay sharp, and remember, we're about to show the galaxy exactly what humanity stands for. As the Athena altered course toward the damaged outpost, Sarah couldn't help but feel that this was somehow fitting. Humanity's first official contact wouldn't be a carefully choreographed diplomatic exchange, but a chance to demonstrate their fundamental nature, their drive to help, to protect, to face the unknown with courage and compassion. Multiple new contacts. Wam called out suddenly, emerging from the nearby nebula. Signatures matched the debris we found. Captain, they're coming back. Sarah's lips curved into a slight smile. Well then, let's introduce ourselves properly. Araya, prepare to broadcast on all frequencies. It's time to show them what happens when you threaten those under humanity's protection. The Athena's quantum drive hummed louder as they accelerated toward their destiny, carrying with them humanity's first true step into the galactic community, not with words of peace alone, but with the determination to defend it. The approaching hostile vessels cast long shadows across the nebula's shifting colors as the HSS Athena positioned herself between them and the damaged Meridian outpost. Sarah watched the tactical display with practiced calm, noting how the enemy ships moved in an almost organic pattern, like predators circling wounded prey. Hostile count now at 15 vessels, Commander Patel reported, his fingers dancing across his console. Configuration suggests they're optimized for hit-and-run attacks. Minimal armor, heavy weapons. AI. Analysis of their attack pattern from the previous engagement. Sarah asked, studying the debris field that told the story of the earlier battle. The attackers appear to utilize swarm tactics, the AI responded. They concentrate fire on specific sections of their target's defenses, overwhelming them through synchronized strikes. However, their coordination suggests a centralized command structure. Sarah nodded, a plan already forming. They're raiders then. Probably using the nebula as cover for their operations. They didn't expect to find anyone out here who could effectively fight back. She turned to her communications officer. Lieutenant Park, are you able to reach the outpost? Yes, Captain, Park responded, her hands moving quickly over her console. But their communications are heavily damaged. I'm getting fragmented transmissions only. The bridge speakers crackled with static before a weak voice broke through. Requesting assistance. Unknown hostiles. Shields at 12%. Cannot survive another attack. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the human diplomatic vessel Athena. Sarah broadcast clearly. We are moving to assist, hold position, and conserve power. There was a pause before the response came, clearer this time. Human vessel. The diplomatic mission wasn't scheduled for another 3 cycles, but we welcome any aid. I am Director Ven of Meridian Outpost 7. These raiders have already destroyed 3 of our ships. Understood, Director. We've analyzed their attack patterns and have a plan. Stand by. Sarah turned to her crew. Araya, bring up the nebula's composition analysis. A new hologram appeared, showing the complex mix of gases and energy patterns within the nearby nebula. Commander Chen studied it intently before looking up with sudden understanding. The hydrogen density, he said. If we could ignite specific portions. Exactly, Sarah smiled. The raiders are using the nebula for cover, but they don't realize what they're sitting in. Araya, calculate optimal ignition points to create a controlled reaction. Commander Patel, prepare quantum torpedoes, minimal yield. We want to illuminate the nebula, not destroy it. Captain, Wang called out, the hostile fleet is moving into attack formation. They're charging weapons. Let them come, Sarah replied calmly. Lieutenant Park, broadcast on all frequencies. This is the HSS Athena. You are engaging in hostile actions against a peaceful outpost. Withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to respond. The only answer was a barrage of energy weapons fire that splashed harmlessly against the Athena's quantum-enhanced hull. The raiders, clearly used to dealing with less advanced vessels, pressed their attack. Their weapons are having minimal effect, Araya reported. Hull integrity at 99.7%. The quantum field is easily dispersing their energy attacks. Hold position. Sarah ordered as more shots impacted their shields. Let them think they have us pinned. Commander Patel, are the torpedoes ready? Yes, Captain. Targeting solutions locked for maximum dispersal effect. Sarah watched as the raider fleet moved closer, probably confused by their target's lack of response. They were falling right into position, their formation spreading out to surround what they thought was easy prey. Director Venn, Sarah broadcast to the outpost. I recommend you divert all remaining power to your shields for the next 30 seconds. She waited until the raiders had fully committed to their attack pattern, their ships now perfectly positioned within the nebula's most hydrogen-rich sectors. Fire torpedoes, full spread. The Athena's quantum torpedoes streaked out in perfect synchronization, but instead of targeting the enemy vessels, they detonated at precisely calculated points within the nebula. The hydrogen-rich gas ignited in a cascade of controlled reactions, creating a brilliant web of plasma that illuminated every ship in the sector. Full sensor lock on all hostile vessels, Sarah commanded. They've lost their cover. Now, let's show them what humanity's defensive technology can really do. The Athena's more advanced targeting systems had no trouble tracking the raiders through the artificially created plasma web. Precision shots from their point defense arrays began disabling the hostile ships one by one, targeting engines and weapons systems with surgical accuracy. Message from the lead raider vessel, Park announced. They're surrendering. Of course they are, Sarah replied with a slight smile. They just realized they're not the most dangerous predators in this sector anymore. She straightened in her chair. Accept their surrender. Commander Chen, prepare boarding teams. Let's secure these vessels and find out exactly what's been happening in this part of space. As the raider fleet powered down their weapons, Sarah could see the Meridian outpost's lights stabilizing. Their first contact might not have gone as planned, but they had demonstrated something far more valuable than diplomatic pleasantries. They had shown that humanity was not just capable of peaceful cooperation, but would fight to protect it. Director Venn, she broadcast, once we've secured these vessels, I believe we have some diplomatic matters to discuss. I think you'll find that having humanity as an ally comes with considerable advantages. The response was immediate and carried a note of relief and respect. Indeed, Captain Chen. I believe the Meridian Federation will be very interested in strengthening our relationship with your species. You've given us much to consider about humanity's place in the galaxy. The command center of Meridian Outpost 7 hummed with renewed energy as human and Meridian technicians worked side by side to restore its systems. Captain Chen stood before a holographic display with Director Venn, whose crystalline exoskeleton caught the light as they reviewed the intelligence gathered from the captured raiders. They're called the Swarm, Venn explained, manipulating the hologram to show a map of recent attack patterns. We thought they were simple pirates, but the data from their ships tells a different story. This was reconnaissance, testing our defenses. Sarah studied the tactical overlay, noting how the attacks formed a clear pattern of escalation. They're preparing for a larger invasion, aren't they? Yes. Venn's crystalline features shifted in what Sarah had learned was an expression of grave concern. The Meridian Federation has always been peaceful. We focused on scientific advancement, exploration. Our defensive capabilities are limited. Commander Chen approached with a data tablet, nodding respectfully to both leaders. Captain, we finished analyzing their combat logs. The raider ships we captured were just the vanguard. There's a much larger fleet gathering beyond the Perseus Arm. How many? Sarah asked, though she suspected she wouldn't like the answer. At least 300 vessels, Chen replied grimly. And these aren't small raiders. We're talking about capital ships, troop carriers. They're planning a full-scale invasion of this sector. Ven's crystalline form dimmed slightly, a sign of distress. The Federation Council needs to be informed immediately. But even with warning, our forces cannot repel a fleet of that size. Sarah touched her communicator. Area, connect me to Earth Command, priority channel. She turned to Ven. Director, I know this goes beyond our original diplomatic mission, but humanity didn't come to this sector just to watch our neighbors fall to invasion. The quantum encrypted channel crackled to life, and Admiral Zhang's holographic form appeared before them. Sarah quickly briefed him on the situation, watching as the veteran commander absorbed the tactical implications. The diplomatic corps might not like this, Zhang mused, but we can't ignore a threat of this magnitude. Captain Chen, I'm authorizing implementation of Protocol Defender. The 7th Fleet can reach your position in 48 hours. Sir, Sarah responded, request permission to begin immediate defensive preparations with our Meridian allies. They have technologies we've never seen before, and we have tactical experiences they lack. Together, we might be able to create something unexpected. Granted, Zhang nodded. Show them what humanity can do, Captain. Zhang out. As the Admiral's hologram faded, Sarah turned to see Ven studying her curiously. Your leaders agreed so quickly to aid us. Humanity learned long ago that the galaxy is too dangerous to face alone. Sarah explained. We believe in building bridges, but we also believe in defending those bridges with everything we have. Commander Paddle entered the command center, his uniform showing signs of the long hours he'd spent working with the Meridian defense teams. Captain, you need to see this. We've been working with their scientists on integrating our quantum field technology with their crystalline energy matrix. The tactical display shifted to show a complex technical diagram. Sarah's eyes widened as she understood the implications. Their crystals can amplify our quantum fields. By a factor of 10, Patel confirmed excitedly. We can create a defensive network that could protect the entire outpost and any ships within range. But that's not all. Their solar collection technology, when combined with our energy distribution systems, could give us weapons capabilities far beyond what the swarm would expect. Sarah finished, a plan forming in her mind. Director Ven, how quickly can your people adapt their technology to work with ours? Ven's crystalline form brightened, their version of a smile. Captain, I think you'll find that Meridians are quite adaptive when properly motivated. Our scientists are already fascinated by your quantum engineering principles. Over the next 24 hours, the outpost transformed. Human engineers worked alongside Meridian technicians, combining their technologies in ways neither species had imagined possible. The Athena's quantum cores were linked to the outpost's crystalline matrix, creating a defensive shield that rippled with unprecedented power. Sarah watched from the command center as the first test of their combined weapons systems lit up the space around the outpost. The beam weapons, enhanced by crystalline focusing arrays and powered by quantum-enhanced solar collectors, cut through test asteroids with devastating precision. Remarkable, Ven observed. In just one day, we've created defenses that surpass anything in the Federation's history. Perhaps this is why the Swarm chose to test us first. They sensed our potential if we ever joined forces with species like yours. The Swarm made a crucial mistake, Sarah replied, watching as another successful weapons test concluded. They assumed that because your people are peaceful, you wouldn't know how to fight. They didn't count on you having allies who could show you how. Lieutenant Wang's voice came through the comm system. Captain, long-range sensors are detecting quantum wake signatures. The 7th Fleet is arriving ahead of schedule. Sarah smiled as the first human warships began appearing at the edge of the system, their massive forms gleaming against the starfield. Humanity has a saying. Director Ven, the best time to make friends is before you need them, but the second best time is when they need you. The command center erupted in activity as more ships arrived, taking up defensive positions around the outpost. The swarm was coming, but they would find something very different from the easy conquest they had imagined. They would find humanity standing beside their new allies, ready to demonstrate just how dangerous underestimating either species could be. Space rippled as the swarm fleet emerged from hyperspace, their dark ships blotting out the stars like a cloud of locusts. Sarah stood at the combined command center, now integrated with both human and Meridian technology, watching as the tactical display tracked hundreds of hostile vessels moving into attack formation. "They're exactly what we expected," Commander Chen observed, studying the sensor readings. "Biological mechanical hybrid ships. They operate as a single organism, sharing data and adapting tactics in real time." Admiral Zheng's flagship, the HMS Prometheus, held position at the center of the human Meridian defense fleet. His voice came through clear on the command channel. "All ships, battle formation Delta. Remember your training. We're not just defending ourselves today." The swarm ships began their approach, moving with an eerie synchronization that had overwhelmed so many other civilizations. Their first wave of energy weapons splashed against the combined quantum crystalline shields, creating spectacular displays of light, but causing minimal damage. "Shields holding at 97%, AIA reported calmly. "The crystalline matrix is successfully amplifying our quantum field by a factor of 12, exceeding initial projections." Sarah watched as the swarm ships paused, clearly confused by the unexpected resistance. "They're analyzing our defenses," she noted, "trying to adapt their tactics. Now's our chance. Signal the fleet. Execute Operation Thunderbolt." The human ships broke formation in what appeared to be chaos, but was actually a carefully choreographed dance. The swarm, programmed to respond to standard tactical patterns, found their targeting systems confused by the seemingly random movements. Meanwhile, Meridian vessels held position, their crystalline hulls channeling energy from nearby stars through the human-designed quantum collectors. "Energy reserves at maximum," Ven reported, their crystalline form glowing with anticipation. "Ready to initiate the pulse sequence." "Execute," Sarah commanded. The combined fleet's trap was sprung. Human ships suddenly reversed course, their apparent retreat revealing itself as a complex positioning maneuver. The Meridian vessels released their stored solar energy through quantum-enhanced crystalline arrays, creating a web of devastating energy beams that caught the swarm ships in a crossfire. Dozens of enemy vessels were vaporized in the initial barrage, but the swarm adapted quickly. Their remaining ships broke into smaller groups, attempting to find weak points in the defense network. That's when the second phase of the human Meridian strategy revealed itself. "Launch the quantum drones," Sarah ordered. Hundreds of small, unmanned vessels deployed from the human ships, each carrying a miniaturized version of the combined quantum crystalline technology. The drones moved with impossible speed, their AI systems coordinating through AIA to create a dynamic defense grid that could respond faster than the swarm's biological neural network. "The swarm is attempting to establish a counter-frequency to our shields," AIA reported, "adapting quantum field modulation, Meridian crystals responding perfectly to automatic adjustments." The space around the outpost became a symphony of light and energy as the battle raged. Human warships executed precision strikes, while Meridian vessels provided energy support and shield reinforcement. The swarm's advantage of numbers began to mean less and less as their tactical adaptations were continuously countered by the combined technological prowess of their opponents. "They're targeting the outpost again," Wong called out. "3 heavy carriers breaking through Sector 7. "Not today," Sarah responded. "AIA, activate the gravity pulse arrays." The new weapons, born from the marriage of human quantum manipulation and Meridian crystal technology, fired for the first time in actual combat. Concentrated gravitational waves rippled through space, catching the swarm carriers and literally tearing them apart at the molecular level. "Remarkable," Ven observed, watching the tactical display. "Their biological components cannot adapt quickly enough to our combined technologies. We're actually driving them back." The battle continued for hours, but the outcome was becoming clear. The swarm, for all their numbers and adaptive capabilities, had never encountered a defense like this. Their strength had always been in overwhelming single civilizations. Against the combined might and innovation of two species working in perfect concert, they found themselves outmatched. Swarm fleet is breaking formation, Commander Paddle reported with barely contained excitement. Multiple ships attempting emergency jumps. Their command structure appears to be fragmenting. Admiral Zhang's voice carried a note of satisfaction. All ships press the advantage. Don't let them regroup. The swarm needs to learn that this sector is protected. Sarah watched as the remaining swarm vessels began a chaotic retreat, their once coordinated fleet now in disarray. Human ships pursued strategically, herding them away from both the outpost and known civilian sectors. The Meridian vessels maintained their defensive positions, their crystalline hulls still channeling energy to maintain the shield network that had proved so crucial to their victory. Director Ven. Sarah turned to her ally. I believe we just made history. The first true combat operation between our species. Ven's crystalline form pulsed with what Sarah now recognized as joy. Indeed, Captain Chen. And I suspect it will not be the last time we work together. The Federation Council will be most interested in formalizing our alliance after this demonstration. As the last swarm ships disappeared into hyperspace, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had come to this sector seeking diplomatic relations, and they had found something far more valuable. A partner species whose strengths perfectly complemented their own. The galaxy would soon learn that the combined might of humanity and the Meridian Federation was a force to be reckoned with. 2 weeks after the battle, the HSS Athena's observation deck hosted a gathering that would reshape the political landscape of the galaxy. The massive window offered a stunning view of the Meridian outpost, now fully restored and strengthened with permanent quantum crystalline reinforcements. Representatives from both species mingled, their conversations animated by shared purpose and mutual respect. Sarah stood beside Director Ven, watching as human engineers and Meridian scientists excitedly discussed new possibilities for combining their technologies. Admiral Zhang had joined them for this historic occasion, his weathered face carrying a satisfied expression as he observed the proceedings. The swarm has retreated beyond the Perseus Arm, Zhang reported, studying a tactical update on his datapad. Our long-range scouts report they're avoiding all contact with both human and Meridian vessels. It seems they've learned their lesson about underestimating either of our species. They assumed that peaceful civilizations would be easy prey, Ven responded, their crystalline form shimmering with newfound confidence. Instead, they discovered that true strength comes from cooperation, not conquest. Sarah nodded, remembering the battle. The way your crystalline technology amplified our quantum fields, no single species could have achieved that level of defensive capability alone. We're stronger together than apart. The observation deck's doors opened to admit Commander Chen, accompanied by several Federation Council members who had arrived for the ceremony. Their crystalline forms displayed various hues of excitement and optimism as they approached. Captain Chen, the lead council member, addressed Sarah. Your actions have opened our eyes to new possibilities. We had always seen ourselves as researchers and explorers, believing our peaceful nature made us vulnerable. You showed us that peace and strength are not mutually exclusive. Admiral Zhang stepped forward. The Earth Alliance has authorized me to present our proposal for a formal defensive pact. But more than that, we want to establish a joint research initiative. Your understanding of crystalline energy matrices combined with our quantum engineering. The potential is enormous. The Federation Council has already voted. The council member replied, unanimously in favor, but we want to expand the scope beyond just military cooperation. Your species approaches problems differently than ours. Together, we could advance both our civilizations in ways we never imagined. Sarah watched as human and Meridian officials began exchanging formal documents, laying the groundwork for their historic alliance. But her attention was drawn to a group of younger officers from both species huddled around a holographic display. "Lieutenant Wong," she called out, "what has everyone so excited?" Her sensor officer looked up with barely contained enthusiasm. "Captain, we were discussing the potential applications of quantum crystalline technology for deep space exploration. The meridians have star charts of regions we've never reached, and with our combined propulsion technologies, we could explore further than either species ever has before," finished a young meridian scientist, their form pulsing with excitement. Admiral Zhang overheard the exchange and smiled. "That's the real victory here. Not just defeating the swarm, but opening up new frontiers together." The formal ceremony began, with representatives from both species signing the historic accords. But Sarah's attention was caught by Aria's voice in her earpiece. "Captain, long-range sensors are detecting interesting readings from the direction the swarm retreated. Multiple civilizations appear to be reaching out for contact, impressed by our successful defense. It seems our alliance has attracted attention." "Good," Sarah replied quietly. "The galaxy needs to understand that strength doesn't always come from the biggest fleet or the most advanced weapons. Sometimes it comes from having the right allies and the wisdom to work together." As the ceremony concluded, Sarah stepped forward to address the gathered representatives. "When the Athena first entered this sector, we came seeking diplomatic relations. Instead, we found something far more valuable: partners who complement our strengths and share our vision for the future. Today, we're not just signing treaties, we're laying the foundation for a new era of cooperation that will benefit both our species." Director Van joined her at the podium, their crystalline form radiating with bright, confident colors. The swarm thought they found easy prey. Instead, they revealed to the galaxy a truth that will reshape our future: that humanity's greatest strength isn't their advanced technology or tactical brilliance, but their ability to turn strangers into allies and challenges into opportunities. As the observation deck erupted in applause, Sarah gazed out at the star-filled vista before them. The Athena's diplomatic mission had evolved far beyond its original scope, but it had achieved something far more important than simple relations. It had proven that humanity's place in the galaxy would be defined not by their power alone, but by their ability to forge bonds that transcended species and transformed potential enemies into lasting friends. The quantum crystalline shields shimmered around the outpost, a visible symbol of what could be achieved when different species chose to combine their strengths rather than compete. As humans and meridians celebrated together, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with both wonders and threats, but they would face them together, proving that the strongest force in the universe wasn't weapons or technology, but the power of species united in common cause.